Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bite Size Genealogy. Today, I want to look at the different search functions for Ancestry.com. I feel like people don't always know exactly where to begin with the search function, and I get this question a lot. Everybody ends up starting with this universal search function, and I think that's great, but you can narrow in on your results a lot better if you know exactly what you're looking for and how to navigate these different search options. So the main one you will be faced with when you go into Ancestry.com, or if you're in Ancestry Library, is this general search box. And it gives you options to put in first name, last name, a place, and a birth year. I think it's great if you can fill most of those in, although sometimes there are moments where you shouldn't put that many in, and that can help you. But then you also can add things like a birth or a death or where they lived in. You can add keywords and then gender, race, and collection focus. If you just keep it wide open, it's going to be a lot of results. So say we look up William Dainty and he was in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. Okay, and we think maybe like 1840s, though we're not totally sure. So we're just going in here, we're putting that in. We have 7,534 results. So I just want to talk about different ways to kind of hone your search because that's too many. One thing is once you're in, if you do a universal search, you can narrow it down by just using this nice little section on the left. And there are lots of options here on the left-hand side to narrow your search. This is typical of a lot of databases, so always look on the menu on the left. If I can change these little toggles, so I could go from broad, like bringing it way in and saying, no, I want it to sound like William. I think I'm pretty solid on William, and that one's not a super hard name to pronounce. So I could change that and bring that in a little bit. Maybe I want it to sound like or similar. 1840, I'm still not sure on the date, but look at the range it gives us. It's saying 10 years or more on either end. I'll probably leave it around there. And then in this section where it's saying, where were they? I thought Pittsfield, Massachusetts. It's searching the whole world right now. So I could bring it into the country. I could say state and adjacent states, and then see if maybe I could narrow in on some closer search results there. If I hit apply, I goes from 7,534 results to about 381, and someone's tree is also there as well. So I think that's a good way to narrow in if you do the universal search. You can also then go into other filters. I often start with birth, marriage, and death and also census records. So I may say, okay, forget whatever else is here. I'm going to hit census and voter lists and see if I can spot him in there at all. And then, sure enough, I can explore these records. I have only 10 records left once I've narrowed into that amount, and I'm just looking for the census records. Now, if I go back into search, like the main place, I just want to show you other ways you could kind of poke around in here. If you don't want to just search in this search box, why don't you grab a collection? I just mentioned I would like to search the census and vital records first. So what if I went ahead and started there? If I go into the US Federal Census collection, it's only going to give me information from the census years. I could start there. I could also go down to the bottom and look specifically for a census and only search in that year. And I think that can be super, super helpful. Again, if we say William Dainty, and you can see the little exact boxes popping up. Those can come in handy too. They often messed up the name Dainty, so I'm gonna leave that one blank. And I think he was from England originally, but then he ended up in Pittsfield. So now I'm going to just put that in and see if I get slightly lower results. We started with 7,000, and here we have 1 to 20 on this page of 29. So again, a lot better, and I'm just searching the US Federal Census. So you can do that by collection when you're in that main search. We're going back out to the main page. You can jump back into one you've searched before or explore by collection and just see if you want to jump into one of these. You also can do it by location. If you were saying, oh, I want to look at a map and specifically explore here. So if I'm just doing USA, I could narrow in on Massachusetts because that's where my subject is. And then I could look at what record sets are there. Ooh, I hadn't even thought of the state census. I love this because you also just get an idea of what they have. What does Ancestry have for Massachusetts? And then I could go ahead and just search in Massachusetts for this ancestor and see if I have any luck at all. Um, by taking a little whirl just in this one particular state. It's going a little bit slow for me, but we can go ahead and get in there. Massachusetts is not, and that's where he lived. Okay, that's okay. And we'll say search and see if it gives us a lot of results or just a few. Okay, still a lot. So we would end up narrowing down here. I have 1 to 20 of 16,676. So what I would then want to do is narrow in his maybe his birth year would help me, and then also all my little toggles on the left hand side here I could narrow into. So, main thing that I want you to take away from this as you explore is this search function here. You can use the universal search box, but try to narrow in with the toggles once you get in there. You could search by collection in the left hand or right hand side here. And then you could also search by location down here on the map. And that's the main search functions. Next time, we're going to go ahead and look in the catalog and narrow in that way. But I just want to leave you with this and exploring those 3 different functions. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you next time.